and welcome to another episode of the Economic Times Cutting Chai Stories, an initiative by ETH powered by Kindle. I'm Ashwini Mishra, bringing to you conversations with business leaders as they share their personal and professional journey over the years, their insights on leadership, their hobbies, and other such engaging topics. Joining me today is Venkatraman SV, fondly called as Venki, and who, in his corporate role, is the managing director at ANZ, where he leads the Global In-House Center for ANZ Banking Group, consisting of over 6,000 people across operations and technology. Welcome, Venki, on Cutting Chai Stories.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me here, Ashwini.
It's a pleasure to host you, Venki. You did your BTech from IIT Kharagpur and then your PGDM from IIM Ahmedabad. And I believe you took your first job with ANZ Grindlays Bank in 1989. But before we, have your views on your professional journey and the learnings that you have had over the years, Venki, let's rewind a little more. Can you take us through your childhood and school days? What were some of the positive influences or incidents that helped you shape your foundation in those formative years?
Sure. So look, I'm South Indian. The name gives it away, but I was born and brought up in Delhi. So
Right.
I think, like a North Indian, I can abuse as well as a Punjabi does, and so my thinking in the background is in Hindi. So
Okay.
that way, I think that was the first big thing, because being born in the nation's capital, I grew up in the government environment. My father was in the civil services. So, we had a nice little place in South Delhi. So I come from that kind of a background. Schooling was all in Delhi.
Right.
I'm a central school Kendriya Vidyalaya product, right from class 1 to 12. And then it's then that I left Delhi when I was 17 years old and went to the IIT. Obviously, those days are really, really impressionable because you're very young, right? So
Right.
the first positive influence on me, like every one of us, were my parents. My father's work ethics, my father's approach to, the way he would handle, his day-to-day confusion. He was a senior Government of India official. So the pressures that come in and how you still retain your value systems, I think was one lesson that I learned from him. Extremely positive. Some great inclusive diversity stories. Central School and Kendriya Vidyalaya environment is full of all sorts of people coming from various backgrounds. So, that taught us a whole lot of diversity and inclusion here. We had people coming in the middle of the academic year because Kendriya Vidyalaya was created for people who
Right.
had movable sort of transferable jobs for children of such people. So, it gave us a great insight into variety and the vividita in India. You could meet in the same classroom people who are from the south of India, from the north, and who have been moving around as well. So that was also a very, very important phase of our development, because we learned to be one, multilingual. I can speak several languages. Two, you also become a lot more tolerant and culturally aware. I think those were some big things that shaped my early years, which I have carried right through. So our value systems given by our parents with the agenda that a central school environment gives you has been something very important to mold my as a professional.
Right. Very interesting, Venki. Apart from these studies, I'm sure you would be great at studies. Any extracurricular activities that you participate?
Look, the South Indian household is very insistent on someone. Either you learn music or you learn a musical instrument, etc. So I learned vocal Carnatic music from my mother for a few years. I just wish, looking back, I had done a lot more of that. But at that stage, other things take precedence, and the other things in my life was sport. I may not look like it, but at that time I used to be a very avid sports person. I represented my school in cricket. I also represented the IIT in cricket at one point in time. When I moved from school to college, just the availability of infrastructure for other sports encouraged me to take up tennis. I play reasonably well, and I also learned my swimming there. So the love for cricket sort of waned a little, and I sort of started doing, playing a little bit of tennis, a little bit of swimming. Not very good at either of them, but I can hold my own for some time at least.
Great, great. That's very good to know, Venki. So, did you always wanted to pursue a career in technology? Could you speak a little about your journey in this field initially?
Sure, sure. Look, I think in our lives, a lot of things happen by serendipity. So you just let things float, and a few things happen. I don't think I had ever thought of going to the IIT and taking an engineering degree, etc. But because you are in that environment, in a school environment, you do what others do. So in a way, it was a bit of a herd approach that I adopted. Simple path of least resistance. A lot of my friends wrote the entrance exams for engineering classes. I did that too as well, and I made it with some sort of rank in the JE, and then I went and studied in IIT. So till that point, it was, I think, a lot more of serendipity. But beyond that, I think there was a little more of plan that came through. So once I finished my engineering, I was very clear I did not want to pursue masters. Most IITians, in my class
normally do that. Yes,
50% sort of went ahead and studied overseas and things like that. I decided that I wanted to take up a job, and I was very clear I wanted to join the defense forces, Ashwini. So yeah, so in my final year, I was very clear I wanted to join the Indian Navy. I come with a naval architecture sort of background, but you plan, but fate disposes, right? So in my
what
case,
happened, Venki? So this
finally,
must be heartbreaking for you.
absolutely, this was one of the biggest turning point in my life. Actually, I went for the Services Selection Board interview. I came from Kharagpur to Bangalore, and it was in Bangalore that during the SSB interview, I met with an accident. I fell down and I broke my thigh, my femur bone. It was a major sort of a fracture. I was laid up in the hospital for a long time, 3 months in the
That's
hospital.
really unfortunate, Venki.
Yeah, that sort of turned the whole thing, right? Not only did I, lose the opportunity to join the Navy, I also realized that I had some time in my hand because I was on crutches, and you can't join a shipyard on crutches.
True.
So, the job opportunities that came through me to me had to be sort of pushed away for time being. And that's when I had an option. My father was keen that I sit for the IAS. I was keen that I'll try something else. And that's when I wrote the management entrance exam. I had no plans to do an MBA. And then I sort of made it to IIM Ahmedabad. And then, what happens after that is your interest develop, you get an exposure to other things. In my case, I got an exposure to finance, I got an exposure to banking, and that's how the banking journey began.
Started.
I immediately after my campus interview, I joined Grindlays, spent a long time there in the investment banking area. I traded foreign exchange for a long time. I also led the derivatives business for the bank in India for some time. And then when the merger happened with Standard Chartered, Grindlays decided to exit India,
Right.
and they sort of sold the business franchise to Standard Chartered. I moved to Standard Chartered. And that's when, now we are talking the year 2000, and that's when the dot-com era was just about beginning. And everybody was trying to get a foothold into technology. And there was a huge premium available in the market for people who had a business understanding. So in my case,
Yes.
that the opportunity came as a capital markets led company to go and become a customer sales evangelist for that firm. It was a startup environment. I went to the UK, and that's how my technology journey began. So it was largely driven by my banking experience
And finance.
that helped me. That's correct.
Right. So you've been in the industry for over 3 decades now, Venki.
That's right. That's right.
What would could you share a couple of examples or defining moments that have really helped you shape your career? So in fact, you again mentioned about being in the banking space and the background of finance that help you transition and move accordingly. So what are those defining moments that would have shaped your career overall, if you look back?
So look, the first one obviously was the mishap that I had, and that turned my career away from a pure engineering led sort of a career, right? So when I broke my leg, that shifted my energies towards management, and that's when my MBA came into place, and then I started looking at a management role, so that was the first big change. So it was a turning point number one. The second one was the if I may say so, the external the change in the bank strategy in India. When ANZ decided to exit, I was very happy in the investment banking space. I was doing quite well as well. And I thought I'll build a career in the trading space, continue being an FX trader. Exciting job, very little paperwork, a lot of action. But when this opportunity came to move to another bank or look at something else, I decided to take something else, and that's how the technology journey began.
Right.
So that was the second big turning point, joining a startup at that time, and a startup that did not take off. It was a very hard 2 years because it taught me various things. It taught me, that selling from an established brand is so easy, but selling from a new brand is really tough. So it humbled me in a way and taught me lessons that otherwise I wouldn't have learned. So the second big turning point was making the jump from an established multinational bank environment to a startup bit. So, I enjoyed that. When I look back, I think I took a big risk from a personal point of view, getting into a new industry in a new country, from a very established, nice sort of role. But that has helped me really mold myself very differently as a professional. So that first taught me that you can switch jobs and still make a interesting career. So that was the first one. When I finished my stint with the startup, I decided that I wanted to learn that industry, and what better to learn it from the pioneers in the game. That was the stint with TCS for 3 to 4 years, where I learned the basic technology piece. How does offshoring work? What does scale mean? And TCS is the biggest of them all. So I learned a whole amount of scale in that industry, and so that added some more skills to me. Once I finished that, my experience was largely in the technology product space. Within TCS also, I was running, sales for the banking products side. I wanted to learn a little bit of services. That's where the Pero stint came. So that added the services bit, and also I learned how to handle scale. So the migration from, a focused investment banking career to a technology career, and then to manage scale, was what I learned in those stints. And I think that's what has helped me in my journey here in ANZ as well, because we are a very substantially large organization. If you look at ANZ's presence in India, about 7,000-8,000 people, plus the second biggest concentration of workforce for ANZ outside Australia. So we compete with New Zealand for the number 2 slot. It's a big business, and the scale and managing large portfolios is what I learned, and which helped me significantly there. So I believe that all these turning points come for a reason, and when you embrace them, and when you try to take the distilled learning out of them, it helps you.
Things start to go your way. That's rightly put. Yes, Venki. What's the best professional advice that you have ever received, Venki, and who gave it to you?
So, around the time when ANZ decided to exit India, this is year 2000. We were all, everyone's worried when in a merger situation, right? So we were also a little worried. And that time, the superior that I had, he told me, his own journey, and he's told me that, look, let your career take you where you are. Open your minds and look for an opportunity, and opportunities will come. And when I made the move to the technology side, it didn't immediately yield results. True. So his kept playing in my mind and saying, have I made a mistake? But the fact that it allowed me to experience diverse things, opened up my eyes to the opportunities that are available. I think that was a very, very important advice, saying, don't believe that you are restricted by what you are doing today. There is a huge world out there. I think just that recognition for particularly people who come who are in very comfortable cloistered environment, a multinational banking environment is one like that. There are others as well. For someone like that to be told that, look, there is a big world out there, try and capitalize on that, was a big advice. I think that was really useful.
Right. So keeping your ears and eyes open and being patient, that's also
Correct.
absolutely essential.
Yeah.
Right. It's often said that the MD or the CEO is the chief team builder, Venki. So what is, you spoke about your learnings, over the years that you've learned in your journey. What are your insights or recommendations on team building? How do you lead and inspire your team?
No, look, everyone likes to be spoken to in the manner that impacts them. So, there are two ways of doing this. One is you can talk to them and tell them about what the company's strategy is and drive that. But I think an engagement at a more personal level, where both you as a leader and the person that you are talking to expose their vulnerability, is actually a very, very good way of building a nice engaged workforce. So that's one thing that I have done. I am very honest to admit that I don't have all the answers, and I always say that I look to people to help me drive this organization. I think that's the fundamental message. So my approach is always that if you have a very strong second line, and so invest the time to build that second line, you have the ability to do a lot of other things,
Lot of
like
things.
team building, like talking to people, like attending group meetings in various sizes, so that people get to know you better. So I think that's been my biggest learning, which I adopt whenever I'm in any situation, is actually surround yourself with very
Leaders,
knowledgeable people,
next leaders.
probably even better than you, and that sort of solves the problem for you in a large way, because they do a lot of heavy lifting, and it gives you time to do other things.
Other things. Right. Coming to the present scenario, Venk, over the last year and a half, we have seen businesses being disrupted. In fact, you just mentioned initially that you've come back to the office after 18 months. But what has this crisis meant for leaders like yourself, apart from working from home scenario? What have been the lessons learned?
About 2 years ago, if you had asked me, would we have 100% of our staff working from home, I would have said, you must be joking, because it doesn't work like that. There are a lot of things which require us to be in the office. So I think the first thing is, I was not a big believer of that everyone can work from home. Flexibility, a few days in a month, okay, but doing it on a consistent basis. So I think the first lesson for us is that you don't know everything. You still have to. There is a lot of stuff that is under the radar, and you need to learn that. The first is, everything is doable, everything is possible. So the first message for that we all leaders have to adopt is that don't go with your preconceived notions. Allow the mind to explore, right?
Explore.
I think that was a very big learning, and I'm sure I'm not the only one here. I mean, most of us would have thought, hey, how can you do innovation and creativity when the teams are diversified? But teams manage. It worked very well, and it is still working damn well. So the first lesson is that. The second is, in all these, it's very easy for people to imbibe learning, training, etc. when they are with others.
With others.
Little tough, and it requires a slightly different approach when you are in a distributed geographical presence. And so things like, how do you engage a workforce in the absence of face-to-face interaction in a town hall? How do you do it in
True.
a virtual way? How, as a leader, manage your team when you can't see what they are doing? You are maybe 20 kilometers away, but how do you manage it? I think those are all things that we have all picked up, that it is important in such environment to keep assuring people that things are under control, right? Keep assuring someone who's got a family which is probably going through hard time because of the disease. How do you keep them motivated enough to continue doing this? I think those are lessons that we learned. The pandemic has not been easy, and for several people, it's been really hard. Last
True. Yes.
months have been really hard. I think leaders with empathy, leaders who understand what people are going through and are willing to make small concessions here and there, not in terms of work output, but I'm just saying, if someone is not able to work in that fixed time, allow them a little more flexibility. I think that empathetic approach to leadership is something that has been reinforced. The other bit is, research always says that people look for bosses who look after them, I think this is the time that proved it.
Proved.
And when I
True.
mean look after, I think people appreciated that one phone call which said, hey, how are you doing? I know we have not met in a long time. I hope everything is okay, right? Can I help you in any way? I think that importance of some discussion like that, I think was really proven in this time. So it has been a big learning for all of us, my team, my peers, everybody. And I think the industry is that way better off,
Better
because
off.
we have learned flexibility, it works. Two, you need to be a lot more empathetic, right? And people deliver. People in general want to deliver. And even in with restrictions, with constraints, people work hard to deliver. I think that has been two or three big lessons.
Precisely. Very well put, Venki. So the little touch of empathy and that personal connect, goes a long way. Right. A final question, Venki. I think we are nearing the cutoff time. One question that I have for you is, again, each one of us has our own unique compass. So many a times we don't read it and use it to make better decisions. Do you have a moral compass when it comes to the way you lead your life, be it in your professional space or personal?
Yeah, certain values are driven to you at home, right? So, we were always taught work hard, be very honest, right? And honesty is the biggest thing. Integrity is very valuable. I'm very glad that my organization's value systems actually match this. You exactly match this. So that's one. When faced with a dilemma, should I do it? Should I not do it? I think the headline test is very useful. If
Right.
Economic Times features the story that Venki did this, would one feel good, bad, or okay? I think that test is something that I use very regularly. So you're
Very
faced with this
interesting.
situation. So, so
Right.
I call it the headline test. And I think that's an extremely valuable method to decide whether you need to do something or not. And the other one is, if your parents hear about this, would they be happy? I think these two questions help me guide me in the right way. And I think for me, they are the navigation tools that I use extensively. Extremely high on values. My organization is that, and I'm very glad that it's aligned with my value systems as well.
Very variable thoughts, Venki. So very, you've phrased it in a very right manner, and it does require some hard thinking. Thank
Yes,
you, Venki,
absolutely.
for your time and sharing your story. It has been a pleasure having this conversation with you.
Thank you so much, Ashwini. Thank you for having me. I loved it.